Hi, so medical focus today is really on treating diseases, right? Like treating cardiovascular disease and diabetes and cancer. But even when we say that we're treating this stuff, we're not actually treating it all the way because we're not curing it. Most of the time, what we're doing is we are just helping with the symptoms of what the disease is causing. And a lot of times our conditions never really go away. But even underneath all of that, how come there's this one thing that we don't treat as a disease and that scientists don't look into solving? And that one thing is aging, because aging could be the root cause of all the diseases that we have, okay? And if no one's out there, actively looking for a solution, then we may just still always be, victims to all these diseases that we just don't even have cures for. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to discuss in this video anti-aging. I want to talk about what hope there is out there for slowing the progress of aging, and also what scientists are already looking at as a cure for aging, which, a cure is a strong word, but we're talking about one of the medications that they're looking for or looking at, which is metformin, okay? So if you don't know already, I am a pharmacist, and this is my channel RXTV, where I cover your health from A to Z. We talk about everything from fitness and diet and exercise to OTC medications, herbal medications, and in this case, prescription medication. So if you please like my channel, that would be great, because I'd like to spread the word. And the more videos that come out, I'd like to keep you educated and keep you young and keep you vibrant. That's what it's all about, right? Okay, so let's just talk about growing old for a second, okay? And aging. And with that, growing old and aging, we tend to have like a lower quality of life, okay? You start to slow down. If your body's not giving out on you, then your brain may start to lose its cognitive abilities, or those diminish, and then you feel a bit like a burden on your family. You feel, like you're struggling to just get by day to day. But what if there really was something out there, or what if there was some answers to having you live longer, but also living and thriving better, and to actually have what we call, or what, I've heard phrased by someone called Greenfield, is this lower or chronological age, where you could actually be 80 but feel 60 and look 60, or you could actually be 60 and feel 40, and also just have your skin looking better, have your brain working faster for you. And we get to this age where we're retired, and that's the first time we ever have a break from work and daily you know just struggle. And then now that you're older, how are you going to enjoy it, right? So that's what I want to talk about today. Is I want to talk about why the drug metformin is actually being looked at by scientists as a way to fight aging. And the first thing I found out when I started studying on this was that metformin is a compound that's derived from French lilac, which is, to me, really cool, because I actually have a favorite perfume, and it's made by Pacifica, and it's French lilac. And I looked for a lilac perfume for like the longest time, and I finally found one that smelled like actual lilac. And the reason I like that so much is because I lived and went to school in Boston for several years, and there was a small time of the year where the lilacs would come out, and it would just, I don't know, it would raise my spirits. It would be very refreshing. So anyways, yeah, metformin comes from French lilac. And what metformin does is it activates something called AMPK in your cells, okay? And AMPK is a known longevity promoting signaling molecule. That's a mouthful, right? But there's some things that AMPK work on that scientists think may be responsible for the aging process. And also, as an added bonus, what metformin does for type 2 diabetes, because this is a drug for type 2 diabetes, is that it reduces fat and sugar, okay? And blood sugar, it reduces the sugar in the blood. And so anytime you're going to be able to reduce fat and sugar in your body, think of all the things that fat affects, and think of all the things that sugar can affect. Your, small vessels, the sugar can work on in organ damage to the small vessels in your body, and then the fat, which is in the form usually, of cholesterol and stuff like that, can clog your arteries and cause atherosclerosis. So these are the things that metformin already works on that we know of. But this AMPK is something that's being studied now. That's something that's new to the aging process, and that's why they're studying it. And then they say also that AMPK diminishes over time. So metformin helping this AMPK to remain in your system and not diminish, and be in a quantity high enough to give you some good effects, is one of the things that metformin would be good for, is keeping this AMPK around. Also, another thing that is being looked at is metformin is said to also repair DNA, which that's really good, because we do know that the the health of your DNA is very important for things like cancer prevention and stuff like that. And actually 80%, 86% of studies showed that metformin inhibited cancer development, which is great. And it's also, again, like I said, linked to preventing cardiovascular disease. And that also goes back to the stimulating of the AMPK for LDL oxidation. So, and then just as a side note, repairing DNA, when you think of your cells as aging, one of the things that I think of is that the DNA, every single time your cells divide, you're making a copy of the DNA. And when your cells divide and they get a copy that's not the original copy, with mutations or whatever would be in there, I kind of call it scratches on a DVD. If you get those, then your cells are going to have problems. The cell is not going to come out as the original cell would have, and it's going to be a cell that's kind of aged, and it turns on different triggers that may tell your body to do things that it's not supposed to do, like cancer cells or something like that. Something could get triggered. And also, there's a new thought out that on your chromosomes, there's telomeres at the end, that those also shrink back, and then they cause problems when the cells divide. And so with metformin having this ability to help repair DNA, that could be really helpful for us. So that's a good thing that we're studying that. And then also, another thing that metformin does is that it reduces inflammation. Now, how does it do that? Well, it reduces the conversion of harmless immune system cells into fat-laden macrophages. And these fat-laden macrophages can actually stick to the vessel walls. And then again, we go back to, cardiovascular disease. But those sticky fat-laden macrophages can also cause inflammation. So we know that inflammation has a lot to do with aging. So anytime that we can reduce inflammation, then that's progress, right? Okay, so the next thing is also that metformin reduces body mass index. Again, like if you're going to reduce sugar in the blood and you're going to reduce fat, you're going to have a skinnier body. Now think of all the things that happen when your body doesn't have all that fat on it. You basically have more energy to run. You feel better about yourself. You're mentally more acute. And also then you don't have a lot of problems with your cardiovascular system. You have better endurance, respiration. You look better, you feel better. Like it just kind of all works together when you have this lower BMI. All right. And I'm talking a healthy BMI now. I'm not talking a a person who's super skinny, and that could be a problem too, if you're not healthy in that way. But that's a topic for another story. Maybe I'll make another video out of, being skinny fat. But anyways, the last one is that metformin is said to be a neuroprotectant, okay, because it is a type of antioxidant, and also when you say neuroprotectant, you're talking about things that could go wrong, like Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease. Some of these diseases where the neurons in your body, the neurons in your brain start to deteriorate, and then you start losing your cognitive abilities. So this is one of the things that metformin may also treat. So, fingers crossed that some of the scientists out there really can turn this into a drug that's used for anti-aging. And what I mean by that is, like, it goes through the process of the FDA approving it, and then instead of you just having type 2 diabetes and you're the only, if you're in that group, then you're good because you're already taking metformin. But if you don't have type 2 diabetes and you want to take metformin, then there's going to have to be an FDA approval for this to come out so that you can get this through your doctor. Some doctors may already be putting it out there. They may already be saying that it's okay to use for off-label use, but you really want the FDA to go ahead and put their seal of approval on this, because when doctors write for things that are off-label, a lot of times as a pharmacist, I would see something like that and say, hey, this person doesn't have type 2 diabetes, so why are we giving this medication? And then we may have a lot of questions about it. And then it may also interfere with other medications that you're taking, and because you don't have type 2 diabetes and you're taking metformin, then we would look at what are these symptoms, because sometimes metformin does have symptoms like upset stomach and diarrhea and stuff like that, because there is actually a stepwise approach to how you start taking metformin, and it's usually titrated up and stuff like that. So don't just go to your doctor and say, hey, I want this miracle drug for anti-aging, and not know the full story behind it. So if you can't wait, make sure you do have a good doctor who knows how to use it off label. And then if you do want to wait, hopefully this will come out as an anti-aging drug. And if that happens too, then it goes down in history that aging is actually a disease. And then when that happens, there's going to be a lot of people racing to figure out what other medications can you take for anti-aging. So it's exciting new stuff. And just so you know, I'm not recommending metformin. I mean, that's, like I said, I would rather see you wait for an approval, but I am giving you some story behind why this is happening. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, share, and like, and then I will see you next time on RXTV. Thank you.